a story to start us off with. There was a third grader named Randy. And Randy came home from school one afternoon. It was about 3:30, and his mother had gotten off of work early and was waiting in the kitchen for Randy. And Randy knew that if Mom was home from work, something was up. And she was not real happy. He could tell by looking at her face. She said, "Randy, the principal has called me again for the third time this week. Apparently, you decided to steal one of your classmates' pens and pencils. So since nothing I've said so far this week has worked, I'm going to give you a little statue of the Virgin Mary. And I want you to take this statue and I want you to go up to your room. There will be no snack for you today. And you're going to stay up there until dinner time, and you're going to meditate on how good Mary was and how faithful she was to God and how Mary always did the right thing, and maybe she'll inspire you." So Randy went upstairs with the little statue of the Virgin Mary. He went up to his room and shut the door. And dinner came and went. Randy never came down. And so Mom was a little concerned, more concerned, less angry by now. And so she went up to Randy's room, and Randy was asleep. And she looked everywhere for the little statue of the Virgin Mary, but she couldn't find it. But instead, on Randy's desk was a note. "Dear Jesus, if you ever want to see your mother again, please tell my mother to stop punishing me." Randy had a week of temptations. Do you guys have temptations? Come on, be honest. How many of you wanted to eat every donut that was out on that table today? Right? But if you did, what would have happened if you'd eaten all of those donuts? You would what? You wouldn't be hungry anymore. You would get sick. Hazel? You'd have a sweet tooth. You wouldn't share any of them because you ate them all yourself. Right, Justin? And just what he said. And you'd probably be up here on a sugar high somewhere. And your parents would not be pleased. Right? What's a sugar high? We'll talk about that later. Hold on. What do you want to say, sweetheart? And my mom would probably kill me. All right. So a temptation is really anything that we do that we know is wrong, right? But we do it anyway. A temptation is something we want to do, but it will hurt someone else, or maybe us. A temptation is going against what we understand God wants us to do. And if you want to know some of the basics of what God wants us to do and not do, we heard it in the Ten Commandments today. Temptations are something we want to do that's illegal, or there would be legal ramifications if we did it. And a temptation is something that we do when we're only thinking of ourselves. So I want to have a little, play a little game with you guys, all right? And one of these bags are temptations, all right? One of these bags are temptations. Have you ever heard the saying, this is something to remember as you get older, character is what you do when no one else is watching. Character is what you do when no one else is watching. Where nobody's around and you say, I could get away with this and nobody would know, but who would really know? Okay, that's wonderful. But who else would know? Hazel? Jesus would know. Oh God, from whom nothing is hidden, right? But we would also know. That's right, you would know. We have to go to bed ourselves every night. And we would know, right? Okay, so, but if you listen to our gospel lesson today, every temptation Jesus had a solution, didn't he? Jesus had a solution. So we're going to go through a little exercise here, and I want you to, are these microphones on, Greg? Can I grab one of these microphones? All right. So I'm going to ask somebody to start by grabbing a temptation. This is the only time you will ever be asked to do this. Grab a temptation. All right, and read on one side, just put one of them back. You only get one. All right. On one side of the temptation is what the temptation is. On the other side of the temptation is what you have to do for it to happen. So if you speak right into the mic and read what the temptation is, put it right up to your mouth.
Get all A's without studying, paying attention in class.
Okay, and what do you have to do to get that?
Cheat. Let someone else do your work. You never really learn.
Okay, so that's the temptation. All right. How would that be? Would that be something you might be tempted to do? Yeah? Okay. Hey, that's honest. You know, the truth of the matter is that we all have temptations, don't we? We are all tempted to do things we know we shouldn't do, but we want to do them anyway. Okay, and sometimes we're willing, but that's a pretty high price to pay, isn't it? Yeah, it's a pretty high price to pay. So let's find out what a possible solution for this is. Wesley, reach in and grab a solution. Okay, open it up, and what does it say, Wesley? God. Say it again.
God.
God. So God is our solution. How is God our solution? Go ahead, say it.
Because he knows everything we do.
Okay, and how else is God our solution? Hazel? Tell us, Hazel.
Because we can pray to God.
And what does God do if we pray to God?
He tries to fix it.
He tries to fix it, and he tries to help us with that struggle that we have. Isn't that what Jesus did today? If you look at every one of his temptations, he put it right back to God every single time, didn't he? All right, so we have another temptation. Who wants a temptation? MJ? All right, read it. One side is what the temptation is, and one is
Get everything you want, and you have to take things that belong to others, or cheat someone, or lie to get it.
And what does it say in parentheses there?
Steal.
You have to steal. Okay. Is that something you would do? Maybe. Depends on what you're stealing. Okay. See, this is the truth of it. Don't you love our kids? They actually have the ability to be honest about what it is that we face. All right, Wesley, you had your turn, so we're going to let somebody else have a turn. All right, who wants to find a solution for us? All right, what does it say? What's our solution?
Be thoughtful.
Be thoughtful, so we don't just think of ourselves, do we? Okay, so here's the thing. Here's the thing about temptations, and we all have them. And a lot of times, you know what's behind our temptations? Is fear. First of all, we don't trust God. And second of all, we want what we want. We're afraid we might not get it. We think we must need it, and that we won't get it. And so we're willing to do pretty much anything to get it. The problem is that in the end, how do we feel about ourselves when we've done something we know that wasn't the smartest thing in the world to do?
Ungrateful.
We feel ungrateful. But how else do we feel about ourselves, Hazel?
Mad at ourselves.
We did get mad at ourselves. How about you guys? Guilty? Guilty? Okay, so, I'm going to put your hands down. So if we have these things, and this is a real struggle for ourselves, and we know that our solution is to go to God, how can we begin to put this in action in our lives every day? Because that's the hard path to take, isn't it? It's easy to just give in to what you want to do, isn't it? So it really takes some faith and some devotion and a willingness to be disciplined to say, this is going to hurt me, or it's going to hurt somebody else, or it's just not right, and I'm going to feel really crummy inside. I'm going to tell you a true story, okay? And this falls under the category of personal confessions. Some of our older youth have heard this before. When I was in junior high, I used to shoplift. I did. I used to steal things because I liked the excitement and because I wanted it and I didn't have the money. And then one day, one of my friends got caught, and she had legal consequences. So that sort of gave me a little bit of attention. But then one day I was in the store and I saw something I wanted, and I took it and I put it in my pocketbook, and I was pretty good at it too. And I put it in my purse. But then let me tell you what happened to me. God happened to me. And somewhere inside of my heart, I heard that commandment that we heard today. Thou shalt not steal. And I knew that it was wrong. And I took it out of my purse, and I put it back. And I never did it since. And I never felt so good about me that moment I put that back. And I listened to God instead of me. So as you guys face your temptations, and you will have many in your life, remember, you don't have to give in to them, that God is there to help you. God will only help us when we ask Him to help us. So remember to stop and pause. You may get away with something, but you have to live with yourself in the end. And that character is what you do when nobody else is watching. And trust that God will give you all you need to get through whatever it is going on in your life at that time. So with that, I'm going to send you all back to your seats, and we're done. Thank you, Wesley. You can all go back.